Okay, so September 3rd, certified Donda Day. Who wins?
Certified lover boy. Well, the other thing too, and I just remember this, and this may be something that Kanye can't go up against. So part of this is also how Billboard counts these things, right?
Mm,
And what Drake is going to do, and it's something that I know like Post Malone and other artists do. The songs that he's already dropped that have like hit number one that have been part of these mixtapes or these like
mm,
2 packs and stuff like that. He's gonna put those on the album. So all the streams from Laugh Now, Cry Later, and all the streams from Lemon Pepper Freestyle, like
mm.
those are probably gonna be on the album. So it's like he already has that advantage. Meanwhile, Kanye, I don't think that he has a song that's commercially out yet that would be in this album. So that's another thing that's up against him. The thing is, though, I wonder what Billboard's going to do and whether or not they're going to count this STEM player, this
Yeah,
$200 player that
yeah,
Kanye put out, and is that going to count towards album sales? If you ask me, I think it should. And I'd be curious to see how many, Kanye ended up selling because it definitely should count. But I know that Billboard's just been a bit more particular with what they consider counting, what they don't consider counting. I mean, we all know the frustration that DJ Khaled had a couple years ago when
mm,
they didn't count his energy drink bundles, and that was part of his frustration about why Tyler the Creator had gotten more
mm,
album sales with Igor. But and even since then, Billboard has changed the album sales bundle thing where they're not counting bundles in the same type of way that they
mm.
were. So it's part of this moving goalpost. I mean, if you ask me, I wish the number that they were counting was just stream. Like, I wish like streams was the base number because it's kind of this like we're backing into album counts based on
Mm.
merch bundles and all of these other things when 95% of the music is being played through streaming. Maybe they'll change that at some point. I doubt it. But so there's some gamification here going on that I think plays in Drake's favor.
But I feel like when I was saying who wins, I wasn't trying to say one or the other out of the artists, but and obviously the fans win, right? Obviously, but with Ye, right? Since the first stadium listening that took place in LA, then Atlanta and Chicago. Yo, the winners are Adidas. The winners are the Gap. The winners
Yep.
are. I mean, this STEM player. I bought
Yep.
three of them. I just,
That's
I was,
awesome.
I was frantically trying to buy them because I knew they were gonna sell out straight away, and then it was like, I was so frantic to buy them, it wouldn't let me do it because it said US only. I was like, oh shit. And then I was trying to plot who could buy them and send them over to me, and then anyway, forget it. So, but then I was like, oh yeah, you can send them to the UK. Three immediately, you know. So and I know any Kanye West fan has done the same thing. I bought
Yeah.
one for myself, two for the kids. If I could have bought more, I would because they're gonna be worth so much money in a couple of years, very very quickly. And the thing about the stem player, it's and it leads into something else I wanted to talk to you about. This is new territory because it's music, it's tech, it's a different thing. It's a totally different device. It's not an artist doing a deal with a phone company. It's not an artist doing a deal with Apple for something. This is like some totally new way to experience music. Like a kid could use this. Like a 2 3 year old could do it just to discover music. There's gonna be a kid that uses this to make music in the future. And the STEM thing is not new. There's a software called Neuralink where you can I use it all the time to take acapellas out or whatever, whatever, whatever. But to actually have a device where even the controls are off the wall, it's a very highly innovative product, and it's typical Yay, forward
Yeah.
thinking, next level, moving forward, breaking boundaries, changing the game. And that's what I'm saying. It's like I think it's bigger than album sales. I think it's bigger than that first week, whatever. I think he's already won.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And I'm glad you brought up that distinction because when we think about all the winners more broadly, even just in some ways, the redemptive narrative arc of Ye. I think that the past 3 years, there's been a lot of public up and downs, and
Mm,
a lot of people had left him and wrote him off and didn't want anything to do with him after some of his statements and some of the things he had done. The way that a lot of those same people were willing to come around in a way for this Donda release that they weren't doing 2 years ago for Jesus is King is a very different type of thing. So I think that in a lot of ways he has came up more than, like Drake hasn't necessarily come up in the certified lover boy rollout, if
mm,
you will. Not as a knock to him, but it's like when you're already
mm,
there, it's like there's not much more to gain. But so to that point, no, I think you're 100% right. And yeah, all the brands that they're associated with,
mm.
Gap is a winner here. Like
Yeah,
everyone is winning
yeah,
with this.
yeah.
To the STEM player point, though, yeah, I think it's smart because this is something that he had mentioned in an interview that almost seemed as like an off comment when Kanye was just talking about all the grand plans that he wanted
Mm,
to do. I think he mentioned in an interview with Zane Lowe. He's like, yeah, I want to have this STEM player where fans can have customizable versions of my
mm,
music. 2 years later, here we are. And I think it hits a few different things. One, it speaks to just Kanye's inventiveness and what he's willing to put out there and actually making it happen. It ties back to this whole experience of people hearing him change the song in different ways.
mm.
The people in Atlanta 2 weeks ago heard a version of a song with Jay-Z, and this week they
Yeah.
hear a version of the song with the baby. Like that
Mm,
type of thing, being able to give fans the opportunity to do that, that's where the thing is. And I think that so much of the rise and popularity of gaming right now, and especially in a lot of these platforms, it is that interactivity. That's
mm,
why I think gaming has hit the trajectory that it has, especially in popular culture, because the things that people like, they now want to have that. And I
mm,
think, of course, that's always been there, but a lot of that, was a bit more reserved for, your nerd culture, if you will, where things
mm.
people were doing on like World of Warcraft and like
Yeah,
Final
yeah,
Fantasy games and stuff
yeah.
like that. But it's a little different now. Fortnite
Mm,
hits a broader piece of the culture. Roblox
mm,
hits, a broader piece of the culture. My nephews play that game all day. So
mm,
being able to have like their people that are now in it, they can be interactive. The STEM player is a device aspect of this. What does it look like when people can do this in the actual environments, in the
mm,
actual games? And I mean, it also kind of ties back in some ways to what Kanye did with The Life of Pablo. He was iterating that album after it came out and dropped.
mm,
He's now giving fans the opportunity to do that. It's really special.
mm.